June 10th, 2026. Oracle Park, bottom of the ninth inning. 2 innings earlier, this game was over. The Washington Nationals led the Giants 9-1 through 7 innings. By the numbers, it was done. And then back-to-back homers from Matt Chapman and Rafael Devers, a 5-run 8th, and suddenly it's 10-7 with the bases loaded and nobody out in the ninth. And walking to the plate is a 6'7", 21-year-old rookie. Mitchell Parker leaves a 2-0 slider up. The kid golfs it 44 degrees into the air, 326 feet, just enough to clear the elevated right field wall at Oracle. Walk-off grand slam. Giants win 11-10. That swing made Bryce Eldridge the youngest player in MLB history to hit a walk-off grand slam. The record he broke? It belonged to Roberto Clemente. It had stood since 1956. But here's the thing, to understand how Bryce Eldridge ended up in that moment, you have to go back to a high school field in Vienna, Virginia, where the best pitcher in the state decided to stop pitching. Welcome to the Couch GM. Today we're telling the story of potentially the San Francisco Giants' new face of the franchise in Bryce Eldridge. And before we get into it, if you're a Giants fan or if you're just a fan of baseball in general, Baseballism is the apparel brand for people who live this game. We're talking premium tees, hats, hoodies, glove leather wallets, and bags, gear that actually looks good away from the ballpark, made by people who clearly love baseball as much as you and I. Get your favorite team's gear for the season at baseballism.com and make sure to use code CouchGM-15 for 15% off your order. Links in the description below. Now let's get into the story of Bryce Eldridge. Bryce Eldridge was born October 20th, 2004 in Fairfax, Virginia, and grew up just down the road in Vienna, a DC suburb better known for producing government employees than big league sluggers. He went to James Madison High School, and by his senior year in 2023, he wasn't just the best player in Virginia. He was one of the most fascinating players in the entire country, because Bryce Eldridge did everything. On the mound his senior season, he had a 1.06 ERA with 66 strikeouts in 39 2/3 innings. At the plate, a 422 average, 8 home runs, a 649 on base percentage. That's not a typo. He reached base almost 2/3 of the time that he was at the plate. And he had a 1.716 OPS. He led Madison to a state Class 6 championship, the program's second title in 3 years, and won Gatorade Virginia Player of the Year. In 2022, he suited up for Team USA at the U18 Baseball World Cup and was named Tournament MVP, hitting .316 with 3 home runs and 13 RBIs against the best young players on the planet. So heading into the 2023 MLB Draft, evaluators called him the best two-way prospect in the class. A 6'7" kid who could run it up there from the mound and hit the ball out of any park. Sound familiar? Every team in baseball was dreaming on the Shohei Ohtani blueprint. The San Francisco Giants took him 16th overall and signed him for $4 million. And at first, the plan was to let him try both. But here's the twist. Bryce Eldridge never threw a single pitch in professional baseball. He'd shut his arm down after his high school season, made his pro debut as a hitter only, and before the 2024 season, the decision became official. The Giants announced he'd focus on first base and hitting. Full stop. The best high school pitcher in Virginia stepped off the mound and never looked back. And you know what? The bat made the decision look brilliant almost immediately. In 2024, his first full pro season, Eldridge went on one of the most aggressive climbs through a farm system you'll ever see. He started the year in Single-A San Jose, then High-A Eugene, then Double-A Richmond, then by mid-September, Triple-A Sacramento. 4 levels in 1 season. And he was 19 years old the entire time. He didn't turn 20 until that October. The combined line was a 291 average, 23 home runs, 92 RBIs, and 890 OPS across 116 games. Baseball America named him the Giants Minor League Player of the Year. 2025, he was the consensus #1 prospect in the Giants system. In 2025, at AAA Sacramento, he kept mashing. 18 home runs in 66 games with an 836 OPS, 25 total homers across AA and AAA that year. And here's a stat that never made the mainstream, from Aram Layton over at Just Baseball. Across 110 games in 2025, Eldridge's average exit velocity was 95 miles per hour. That was the highest of any qualified minor league hitter. And in all of professional baseball, majors included, only O'Neal Cruz and Aaron Judge averaged higher. Sit with that. A 20-year-old riding buses in the Pacific Coast League was hitting the ball, on average, harder than everyone in the sport except for 2 guys. And on September 15th, 2025, the call came. Dominic Smith went down with a hamstring injury, and the Giants selected Bryce Eldridge to the big league roster. He made his debut that same night against the Diamondbacks, batting as the designated hitter. He went 0 for 3 in a Giants loss, but his third at-bat, a 407-foot flyout to the wall in left center. Statcast said that ball would have been a home run in 23 of 30 big league ballparks. That debut was the story of his September in a nutshell. The talent was obvious, the results weren't there yet. In 37 plate appearances down the stretch, he hit 107, no home runs, a 20-year-old getting his first taste of big league pitching, and big league pitching bit back. So when the Giants sent him to AAA to start the 2026 season, plenty of people asked whether the timeline had been too aggressive all along. He'd be back in the majors by May 4th. And this time, everything was different. Let's talk about what Bryce Eldridge has done so far in 2026, because this is where the story gets real. This season, Eldridge is hitting .271 with a .364 on base percentage and a .468 slug. That's an .832 OPS with 8 home runs and 217 plate appearances. For a 21-year-old rookie, that alone is impressive. But of course, we gotta look under the hood. And the Statcast data on this kid is where you start to see a superstar outline. Start with how hard he hits the ball. Again, this guy is 6'7", 250. And Eldridge's hard hit rate, the percentile of balls he strikes at 95 plus miles per hour, is at 54.4%. That is the 97th percentile in Major League Baseball. And let me put it in a different context. More than half the time Bryce Eldridge puts the ball in play, it comes off the bat like it was fired out of a cannon. And almost nobody in the sport does that more often. His average exit velocity is 92.3 miles per hour, the 91st percentile. His barrel rate, the percentage of batted balls with the ideal combo of exit velocity and launch angle, the ones that usually become extra base hits, is 12.5%, which is the 81st percentile. Now here's one of my favorite parts, and it's the number that tells you 2026 isn't a fluke. Expected weighted on base average. If you're not familiar, xwOBA basically asks, based on how hard and at what angle this guy hits every single ball, what should his results look like? It strips out the luck, the good, and the bad. Eldridge's xwOBA is 373, which is in the 92nd percentile, and his expected slug is 504. Both of those say his actual numbers aren't smoke and mirrors. If anything, the underlying quality of contact suggests there's another gear here. And the swing itself is a weapon. His average bat speed is 73.7 miles per hour, among the fastest in baseball. When you're 6'7" and 251 pounds with that kind of bat speed, the ball does wild things. Like on May 9th at Oracle Park against the Pirates when he hit his first career big league home run off of Braxton Ashcraft over the Levi's landing wall in right, and the ball bounced all the way into McCovey Cove. Career homer number 1 found the water. Or May 31st against the Rockies when he had a career-high 4 hits and launched a 453-foot solo home run to dead center at 108.2 miles per hour off the bat. But the thing that has me the most convinced, his plate discipline. This is where young power hitters usually get exposed. They chase, they whiff, and the league figures them out. Eldridge is walking 12.9% of the time, that's the 88th percentile, and chasing pitches outside the zone only 26.5% of the time, which is better than league average. The strikeouts are there, sure, 24.4%, but for a 21-year-old power hitter, that's a completely livable number, and the walks tell you he knows the zone. Those aren't raw power project numbers. Those are the numbers of a mature hitter. Remember, this guy was in high school just 3 years ago. And one more deep cut, because this one tells you how the adjustment happened. Through his first 18 career big league games, Eldridge struck out 34% of the time. That's the guy who hit 107 his rookie year. Then, per RotoWire, over a 13-start stretch this summer, he hit 391 with just a 19% strikeout rate. Same pitcher-friendly league, same 21-year-old, the strikeout rate got cut nearly in half. That's a hitter making an adjustment in real time at the highest level in front of everybody. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you he's a 5-tool player because he's not. His sprint speed is 26.2 feet per second, which ranks in the 24th percentile. He's a 6'7" first baseman in DH. He's not stealing you bases. But that's exactly why the bat matters so much, and the bat is very, very real. And it all peaked on that June 10th game. Down 10-7, bases loaded in the 9th inning, and the rookie hits a walk-off grand slam that capped a comeback from 8 runs down. According to Sport Radar, big league teams trailing by 8 or more runs in the 8th inning or later had lost over 4,000 straight games before that night. Nobody had pulled off a comeback like that in 17 years. The numbers tell you Bryce Eldridge is good. That moment told you he's different. So here's the root of this video. Bryce Eldridge's story isn't really about one legendary swing. It's about a bet and what it takes to survive it. Think about the sequence. This is a kid who was the best pitcher in Virginia and chose to walk away from half his game before he ever threw a pro pitch. Most 19-year-olds would hedge. He agreed to go all in on the bat. Then the Giants pushed him through 4 minor league levels in a single season, a pace almost no prospect gets asked to handle. Then baseball humbled him publicly in his first taste of the majors, a 107 batting average in September 2025. And he went back to Sacramento, made his adjustments, and came back a different hitter. That's the part you can't measure with Statcast. Every time this player has been asked to adapt, he's adapted. Giants manager Tony Vitello, in his first year running the club, put it this way in June. I think it's real confidence. It's just a sincere feeling and self-belief that he has going on, and he's incredibly mature. And Eldridge himself isn't shy about what he wants. He's said it flat out. I want to be the face of this franchise. That's something that motivates me every day. I want to be in that moment. I want to be that guy. The 2026 season has not gone the way San Francisco has hoped. This is a team fighting through a rough year in the NL West. And when a season goes sideways, a fan base needs something to believe in. Eldridge is that something. The Giants haven't drafted and developed a homegrown franchise cornerstone position player since Buster Posey. That's a decade and a half of searching. And now Posey is the man running baseball operations, and the kid the organization bet on at 16 overall might finally be the answer. A 6'7" left-handed hitter with elite exit velocity, elite bat speed, a mature approach at 21, and a flair for the biggest moment the sport can offer. Frames like that, with skills like these, come around maybe once in a generation. The walk-off grand slam broke Roberto Clemente's record. The next 10 years decide whether that's a trivia answer or the first line of a legend. So let's bring it back to where we started. June 10th, Oracle Park, that 2-0 slider disappearing over the right field wall. 69 years that record stood. A 21-year-old from Vienna, Virginia took it down in his first full season. So here's my question for you guys, and I want you to drop it in the comments. By 2028, is Bryce Eldridge a top 10 player in baseball? Or is this just the honeymoon phase talking? Give me your take below, and if you're a Giants fan, tell me what it felt like watching that Grand Slam live. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like and subscribe to the Couch GM, as I'll be covering deep dives on breakout players in baseball throughout the season. And if there's a player you think I should cover in an upcoming player profile, make sure to drop that in the comments as well. Thank you as always for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.